there's no need for government. That's straight from the Federalist Papers, that if men are angels, there's no need for government.
Correct.
But men are not angels, and men are the ones in control of these systems. We've seen them being used by police officers to track exes. We've seen them being used to track immigrants. We've seen them being used to track a woman who's had an abortion in Texas. Now, whether or not you agree with these issues, at the end of the day, who knows who's going to be behind the wheel at some point? What if, say, weed was just recently legalized in Ohio, and despite the state house's best efforts to do otherwise, what if at some point, 20 years from now, they decide that weed should be illegal, and now there's all this data from the flock cameras that shows, oh, these are the people who went to dispensaries before, so we should keep an eye on them. Or what if it's just something completely different, where an officer just wants to look up that database for whatever reason? What if he wants to check on his cousin in California? He can do that because he has access to a nationwide network. Because Flock, at the end of the day, is a private company that has put up cameras all over the country.
From the clouds of the highest mountains, from the corners of the earth, two men have traveled leagues to bring you. Welcome to the Eagle Boys, Drew Ladd and Nick Huber. Overkill.
All right.
We're diving right in.
All right. So you were talking about you were blowing up on social media a second ago?
Well, it was just interesting. Without having much posts on social media, the first post that I made got 12,000 views out of nothing. And it's like, where did that come from? Because I don't think I did anything prolific. I just made a quick post about my launch on social media. So
Yeah.
I think it tells me that people are paying attention, especially in this election year. People are paying more attention than usual. I mean, it's what you would say is quote unquote just a county commissioner's race, but it got a whole bunch of views right off the bat without nothing.
Yeah.
And just makes me ask why. What are people looking for? What do they want from their politicians these days? And
How did they get to you like that? Was it organically or was it,
Well, I think there was a bit of buzz actually in Warren County about the county commissioner's race, where there's a strong Republican primary. The incumbent was being contested. There's also the opponent who was challenging the incumbent, and the incumbent's the guy who's in office right now.
Yeah.
The opponent got a $40,000 donation from a developer to the campaign, and it has a lot to do with the Warren County Fairgrounds. Now that's a whole other drama that I don't know is worth unpacking at this very moment.
I got you.
But that campaign was very spicy, and I think that kind of brought some attention my way. But I also just think it's reflective of the fact that people are looking for something different in today's world of politics. And thankfully in American politics, there's a lot of room for something different and something new.
Very nice. Very nice. Actually, very accurate too. I was kind of I've brought this up to the guys before. Like, can you imagine what the world is going to be like when Donald Trump is not able to be president?
Oh, it's going to be
people okay. This is the first time in my lifetime that I've seen American politics go so wild.
Mm-hmm.
Even during the Bush administration, 9/11 era and all that, I know it wasn't as divided as hearsay, he said, she said, just bashing those who don't believe in you.
Yeah, it's weird because in the 90s, you used to be able to be, friend. You didn't care if someone had a different view from you. And I remember growing up even in the early 2000s. It wasn't like the way it is now, and it's very odd.
It's almost sad in a way because I wonder how much of it is the internet and technology and how much of it is just cultural changes. Because you're right, it absolutely has changed a shit ton. And I don't know if I can swear on here.
Oh, go for it.
No, go for it.
We've said horrible things on here. We have said terrible things.
Great. Okay, I can get canceled very easily.
Yes. Canceling time.
First off, actually, before I'm going to go on tangents sometimes, but I just want to say, I do think we need politicians who are more authentic and more open with what they say, and I think that is one of the changes of the times. And for better or worse, no matter what you think about Trump, is that he does speak a bit more candidly about things. Gone is the days of the nice and polished bottled politician. People just want to know that someone cares and is authentic and is speaking passionately about what they care about.
I agree.
We're far more polarized. I feel like the 90s was almost optimistic, the USSR fell. We're like, it's just
Was
America.
That Bush or was that Clinton?
Clinton.
That was Clinton,
yeah.
yes.
Okay.
That was.
We almost got universal healthcare actually in the late 90s, but it got shot down in a very long and complicated process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, and I actually forgot that Doug told me this, that you were running for office, and then I saw the buttons. I was like, oh yeah, which is very important. So how did you even get involved in doing that, and why did you want to run for? What are you running for again? You're running for
Warren County Commissioner.
Warren County Commissioner. Okay.
Very nice.
So how did you get into that, and why?
Well, it starts honestly with the fact that I've always had an interest in politics, but I didn't think I was going to be getting involved this early, honestly. What happened was I've always had an interest just in history and in humanity and how we as a people have been able to shape the world around us and how policy becomes reality and how we've inherited a system as Americans that allows us to step up and change things when things need to be changed. Now, I always thought I was going to be doing things maybe a more traditional way, like just going to work in an office somewhere, get an internship somewhere.
9 to 5.
Exactly. And the more I saw everything that was going on, all the things changing, like you said, we do live in very different times and very divisive times. And just the more extreme things got, the faster things got to changing, the more I felt this pressure of like, I can't wait. I don't care that maybe I didn't do things the traditional way or the way I'm supposed to do them. I have things I'm ready to talk about. I have things I'm ready to advocate for now.
You're a man who's ready to get stuff done now,
Yep.
not later.
Yep.
Now.
So about a year ago, actually probably a year and a half ago now, I got involved in the local politics circuit. So this is the Warren County Democratic Party. And now
How do you get involved in that?
you just show up.
You just go?
I just looked. I looked it up, and because here's the thing with the parties, there's the DNC. Everyone knows the DNC, right? It's the Democratic National Committee. They're
Yeah.
the ones who run the whole country or whatever in terms of the Democratic Party. Then there's the Ohio Democratic Party, they're the ODP, and then there's the county level, and there's kind of that tier system. But at the end of the day, the DNC doesn't actually communicate much at the very bottom level. So the WCDP is a part of that whole system, but at the same time, it's really just your community and your neighbors who have decided to come together and say, we want to change things, and we want to come together with our values and advocate for something different. And so I just kind of looked up. I was like, okay, if I'm going to make a change, if I'm going to fight for my community and for my country, then it has to start at the local level. It has to start with the people around me. So I got involved with the Warren County Democratic Party and a couple other groups around here. And I just kind of started going to meetings. I started learning a lot about what is actually going on in local government because most people don't pay attention to local government. They don't even know what the county commissioner does or what it even like.
I don't even know what it does, honestly.
Exactly. No,
I'm here to find out.
Yeah, and I'll get to that here in a moment. But local government is ultimately the one that has the most impact on your day to day. They're the ones who regulate the world literally around you.
Gotcha.
And so over the course of that year, I learned more about local government. I learned more about how I can do more for my community through those systems. And I realized that there's just a lack of competition in the government here in Ohio. We talk about competition in the marketplace, but there's been this Ohio and Warren County have been basically a one-party government for basically my entire life, at least.
Yeah.
I think Democrats had like a couple years in like the House in the State
Something
House,
about there. I don't remember who they
It's
were.
been a Republican run for
Yeah.
decades, and
I think with Trump's ratings right now, I think it's gonna flip back
hopefully
to the left. That's just my opinion. With everything, we can get into that later, but with everything going on, and I think one of the number one things that people care about more than anything is the price of oil or the price of gas and how it affects them at home. And when it goes up, people are not happy, no matter who's in office.
Yep. And it's funny, the price of your everyday goods, and I'm not going to say necessarily just gas, but for example, in Warren County Commissioners, they voted on a sales tax increase just literally on Tuesday, and that is something that is going to affect every person who shops in Warren County.
Is it going up?
It's going up by about 0.5%.
Oh wow!
Which it doesn't seem like much, but it
can add up.
It adds up.
Yeah.
They were making the argument of, oh, you could just go over to Butler County and buy stuff there. It's like, no, that's not how people live.
No.
Yeah.
When you're governing, you have to think about how people actually live because
no one's going to go a whole county over to get groceries.
Well, not only
That's the
that,
stupidest
but
thing I've ever heard.
By the time you save by the time you get to Butler County, you spent that 0.5% on fucking gas.
Exactly. Which has just shot up in price.
Yeah. So it doesn't even matter. Just go to your local grocery store like normal. It's not going to change if you go Butler County, Hamilton. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Will, can you look up what bills, like all of them that were brought up in Warren County? I don't know if we can even do that, but do you mind looking that up? Or things that
You want me to look up what was on the last vote?
Yes, vote. Sorry. Yeah. I'm actually interested in I don't know if you know that.
I'll say he might be able to tell us.
Yeah.
Well, so I guess that might be a good opportunity for me to quickly talk about county government. So you have the state of Ohio, right? And that's governed by the state house and all them. And then it's divided into 88 counties. And I believe we are in Hamilton County right now, which also includes the city of Cincinnati.
Correct.
And I'm running for Warren County Commissioner. And the counties basically are the ones who actually administrate the state policies. So the state comes up with like a law or a different like program, and the county is the one who administrates them. Now, I would say they're almost like the highest level of local government in a sense. It does get a little complicated in that, Mason, for example, the city of Mason has its own like home rule stuff where it's kind of its own thing in some ways. So I'm not going to dive into those details, but for the most part, county government administrates state law, and they govern two critical things: land and money. So who can build what where? That the county government decides that through zoning. Like, can you put a house here? Can you put a business here? They also decide where does taxpayer funds go? What gets allocated where? That's the money part of things, as well as just general some taxation with sales tax and with property taxes. They have some levers there as well. So land and money is basically the short way I've summarized it. Is they control who can build what on the land and what happens with the money. And there's three of them. There are three county commissioners. They are the ones basically in charge of the purse strings for the whole county. There are some other county officers as well. There's the sheriff, for example. He's also elected. But at the end of the day,
wait. So the sheriff is a commissioner?
The sheriff is an elected office, but not a commissioner.
Okay.
So the county, you can think of it as being run by the three commissioners.
Okay.
3 county commissioners. And there's a few other offices that are part of the county that are also elected, which gives them the idea is that the sheriff can't be told what to do by the commissioners because he's also elected.
I'd bet that not a lot of people are voting for their local government either. Like what percentage of the county? That's also another good question. I wonder what percentage of voters vote in for their county, elected officials.
I think you'd be surprised to find that the number is actually quite high, but not because they're paying attention to local government, but because they're voting based on whether they see a R or a D next to the name.
That's exactly what I was going to get
that's how
at.
the whole country is. I mean,
I remember for the longest time, before I started reading things, before I started really paying attention to what was going on around me, and until a point where I realized, okay, what I put on this ballot here is going to determine how my future is going to go. You know what I mean? Before I figured all that out, it was the same as I would say probably most kids that get the legal right to vote, is that their mommy and daddy tells them, yeah, you're going to vote for this, and this, and this one, just don't write anything or something along those lines, because that's how it was for me when I started. Not that I was opposed to my parents' views. I actually, they're pretty hardened Republicans, and I like to think I still am, but I am kind of questioning my party a little bit recently. But still, for the longest time, I was just like, okay, R, and then left it at that.
Which is a good thing that you're questioning it. I think we should always question.
No, you should definitely always question those types of things. And I think, at the time, I just was like, okay, I want to do what's best for my parents. My parents think this is what's best, so I'm going to do that. Yeah. And then as soon as I started paying taxes, had a job, started, having to do all these things that just younger adolescents don't have to do, that's when I was like, okay, but is voting Republican going to be the best thing for me? In turn, yes, it ended up being that way, but not in every instance.
Yeah, and the parties that, it's meant to be a shortcut for like helping us understand what we're going to get when we vote for a certain group.
Yes.
I think that, however, both at the federal, state, and local levels, you'll see that everyone there is doing different things and the values aren't necessarily going to be the same. And if you have someone at the local level who's just parroting the values of the federal level, well, the stuff they're doing has nothing to do with what's going on at the federal level.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it's like we just think so binary and just like it's team red versus team blue. And ideally, in a good world, we could trust that our representatives are working for us, that it could work out. And I think maybe there's an argument to say that maybe it did for a bit. But as we can see, the parties are changing. They are evolving. And I think that's why it's more important now that we cast aside the notion of just Democrat versus Republican or just team red versus team blue, because they are shaping, because they are evolving. And that's why I think running as a Democrat is actually such an exciting opportunity in a county that's typically Republican, because they're still stuck in the whole, it's the Trump way or the highway. Whereas the Democratic Party, they are more open to the community sharing their views. Like, I get to run as myself.
I think it's because of what just happened with Kamala, because they didn't even have like a primary. Like they just threw her
in and said, have fun.
And then they didn't listen to their voter base, and they didn't have those elections. And or I don't know if it's an election, but the party itself chooses who's
well, I mean,
run for
dude, they also had like a week to scramble that together.
Yeah, it was it's like Biden should have been a one-term president, no question.
No question about that.
I think that was the if you want to.
I don't even know if he should have been like not saying I'm against everything that he did. However, even from his first presidency, there was signs that there was something wrong. Sorry, go ahead. That's just my opinion.
I think it's worth putting all that out there because it's all true, and but it's just funny because our last presidential election was basically 2 80-year-olds duking it out.
Yeah,
and
literally.
Which that and Trump just so happens to still be in his right mind. Sometimes he says things. Sometimes though, like he just gave I'm drawing a blank on what it was, but I watched a speech that he gave, and he talked about the war and everything, and some of the things he said were crazy. Will, do you remember anything that
he basically said he was going to end Iran? Is basically what he said. Like if no agreement was reached,
he just says a whole bunch of like off the cuff things, and I think that works if you're an entertainer. But the problem is when you're the president of the United States, you're representing the country, and when we can no longer trust what the president of the United States is saying, it gets really weird really fast, because he's talking all these things about, oh, Canada's going to be the 51st state, Venezuela is going to be the 51st state, and it's like, it's not that why
do you think he's doing that?
That's a great question.
I have my own opinions on that, but I want to know what what you think.
I think that although for the most part it is a distraction and entertainment kind of a thing, where it's like hey, keep the eyes on me. Like Trump is a master at entertainment, at keeping the media glued onto him. There's no doubt about that. I do think there is a grain of truth to it, though. I do think there's a sense that he wants to. I mean, he's an old man who's aging out. Like he wants to have his legacy imprinted. He probably wants to expand the American sphere of influence in a way that he knows it, which is real estate.
Yes.
Now, I don't. That's not to say I take him seriously when he says that he wants to make Venezuela the 51st state. I just think there's a grain of truth behind it, but I think really it's that entertainment value. But again, going back to what I was saying earlier, when
can I add something to that real quick? And I think you might find this interesting as well. But we used to the world used to be under British Empire, right? And then it transitioned into the American Empire. The British Empire kind of still has it's because if you look at all of the countries that have offshore banking accounts, it's where the British Empire used to be. It's all of their areas. So they do have their hand in the world, because they started the Bank of England that was saying, hey, we will protect investors' money because we're loaning you money from the nation. This they took it from like private to like national. And then so we went from British Empire to American. Now we have been an empire for a long time, but how are we going to stay an empire and really keep our presence? And I think it's by controlling the Western hemisphere. And I think that's the long-term plan of the, U.S. empire. That's just my opinion. And I think,
No, actually, I agree.
this whole Strait of Hormuz thing, I think America wants the world to depend on it
Mm.
for natural resources. And, the petrodollar was kind of threatened with this whole Iran thing. It still is. So that's how I feel about it.
It's interesting because I don't really disagree with you that much in terms of I think there's a question of what is best for the United States, but I do think it's currently trying to consolidate its power into the Western Hemisphere. And the question is it okay with China just having its own sphere of influence, and then Russia having its own sphere of influence including Europe?
Did you see that speech that China or that Xi Jinping
Mm.
and Putin gave at because they had some kind of convention. I don't know what it's called, but it's interesting because Putin was saying, "Hey, we need to work together, and we need to take over this area of the world." And China was like, "You know what? We're cool with how things are going. Like, I don't care." So that showed because China has a better relationship, between the two. China sells energy and they get back, electronics and goods. And that's a much better deal for, China in the long run.
Yeah, and they're investing a lot in Africa right now in
Yep.
a lot of the infrastructure there,
Yep.
and that goes to the value of soft power. That is something that I don't like that the Trump administration has done, is that they've cut back on soft power, because I think in today's world, like, America, no question, dominated the world, if not still, at least for the last 100 years since World War II. Um, that wasn't because we literally controlled every piece of territory around the globe, kind of like how the sun never set in the British Empire. That was never the case for the U.S. We used soft power, and that's something I don't know. Are you guys familiar with the IR, like, schools of thought on how countries behave? It's
I'm not actually.
realism, liberalism, and constructivism. And realism is basically just this idea of might makes right. That countries
I have
are
heard that before.
yep,
Yeah.
countries are going to behave like whether like they countries want security. They're going to behave. They're going to want to be as powerful as they can, because that is the only way they can really guarantee their survival.
Mhm.
You can get into nuances like whether they might not get so powerful as to provoke other countries to attack them. They might only go to an extent. There's others that say no, they're just going to try and conquer everything because that's the safest way you can make sure no one's going to attack you. Then you have liberalism, which is about institutions, and it's about a lot more about that soft power. It's about stuff like the UN, like how the US wanted to create the UN and create the World Trade Organization, and being at the head of these organizations that connect the world.
That was actually before World War II ended. Most of the Allied powers came together and they were like, okay, how are we going to do this? And then
Mm.
the U.S. was like, hey, we can control. Let's make the dollar the currency of the world.
Mhm.
And then there was a trade off for it, though. I can't remember what it is.
Come on, you fall asleep to these documentaries.
I know, I do, I do. It was.
You got to know
there was a
this.
trade off. It was. Other countries can use gold to trade in for U.S. dollars at any point in time.
Oh,
So
yep.
that was the trade-off for us. And then also, we were going to police the world. And that was actually done before Germany and Japan even fell. Like, we were already like, hey, we're going to win this. We might as well figure it out right now. I don't know if that was 1943 or 44, but we already knew that we were going to win the war before we even won World War II.
Mhm.
Sorry, I know I'm sidetracking.
No, you're good.
Um,
This is
but yeah, I think it's interesting how countries have their own weapon. Like some countries use like religion and culture. Other
Mhm.
countries use military power and politics. And every country has their own attack vectors. And,
Exactly.
And I think that's what you're trying to get to when you say might makes right.
But yeah, basically, it's like, and the last one, constructivism, very simply summarized as that everything's a social construct. The way
Mhm.
that nations behave is just up to us as
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like, so you could say that the Clinton administration, the Bush administration, and even Obama, they were more liberalists. They wanted to build institutions. They wanted to install democracy in the Middle East. And you could say the Trump administration is more realist. They're more they want to just go ahead and
Especially
precedent.
JD Vance.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think realism is something that always needs to be kept in mind, but I don't think it's the one that's really going to create the strong, like lasting foundation for an American hegemony, if that is what you are hoping to do. But the reason why you talk about these schools is just try to get an idea if we're going to talk, if we're talking about where is the U.S. going, what are we doing right now with Iran, with Venezuela, with all these provocations, what are we doing with all that? Well, that's where those schools might help us think like, okay, why is the United States doing this? Because at the end of the day, the United States is more than just Donald Trump, or it's more than just J.D. Vance. It's a collection of peoples.
Yes.
But
I kind of want to take a step back and ask you more about yourself.
back down to the ground.
Yeah. So
Back
because
down.
we're going crazy here.
Well, see, that's the stuff.
We're going wild.
But that's the stuff.
That's the stuff that we're usually interested in.
People like listening to this stuff, so it's
Yeah.
great. So
But-
what are? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So I just want to quickly say, like,
Go
that's
ahead.
the stuff we're usually very interested in. But when we don't pay attention to what's going on locally, when we don't take that time to ground ourselves and pay attention to what's going on in local government, we start to get things like these flock AI surveillance cameras creeping in. So
Oh, we're gonna get to that.
Oh, we're getting to
don't,
that.
Don't you worry. We're going
He
to get
informed me about all this beforehand.
I
just
am
want to
so
tease that
I'm ready.
real quick.
We're
and
gonna
I-
tease that.
Oh, this is so yeah. We're gonna tease that.
I'm sorry, continue.
Thanks. So what do you think is wrong? What are you running for? Oh, Will, before we get into that, did you find anything about, things that were being voted on?
No,
Oh, okay. Well,
you cannot find a real ballot online.
oh, that's okay. That's a problem. Maybe,
They only have sample ballots.
Oh yeah, you could.
But it's not the same. They only show on the Ohio website party line ballots. They don't have the
okay.
full ballot for like,
So no, yeah.
let's say Lebanon, or they only have either local, congressional. It's only on party lines. It doesn't have like proposed Ohio laws. Or
That's
like,
so weird.
Okay.
So they don't have the full ballot.
Maybe there's
That's
another resource that's difficult to get to, or that'd be like, I would think that's weird that they don't have that publicly available.
I think there
people
probably
could-
is a way. It's just not easy. Like
People could forge
yeah,
pretty easily. I
Yeah.
think, if
So they
found
just don't
it.
put it out. Everyone's like, well, this can't be true because they don't even have it out there.
Yeah.
So
I would recommend going to the Warren County, Ohio government website. They might have stuff like some of the resolutions on there that Warren County passed. That might help. But in general, this stuff is very difficult to find. And if you don't already know about it, then you're not going to be looking at it,
Yeah.
which I think is part of the problem.
I would agree.
So again, what do you think is wrong, at the county level, or even if the county can affect the state level? What do you plan to propose when you run? I don't know if you've already debated or not. So yeah.
I think there is a couple levels I look at this from, and there's just the deeper, like, what is driving me to go into politics in general, and the issue there is the intersection of technology and government. It's that fact that we are given a country where we are able to change things and adapt our systems, but they just have not been adapting to technology, to the internet, to artificial intelligence, and I see that stuff creeping on faster and faster and impacting our community faster and faster, and nothing seems to be being done about it. At least there's this question of, oh, do we ban this or do we not ban that? But it's like, it has to be deeper than that. We're living in a world with this technology. We need to figure out what it's going to be like to live that way. Now, at the county level, there is, to me, the problem of just, again, I was saying earlier, a lack of competition, a lack of needing to actually show initiative and drive to make something better for your community. Because when you know you're going to win your election again and again and again, when you've been in power, there hasn't been a Democratic Warren County commissioner since 1976 in 50 years.
Oh wow.
Now that was the 200th of the United States of America. So I think for America 250, it's time we get in a Democrat. But that said, they've been cozy there for a while, and that leads to complacency. There needs to be that fire. There needs to be a drive for them to actually want to try and improve things for Warren County residents. Now they talk a lot about how well off the county is financially. They're like, oh, we're fiscally conservative, we don't have debt or whatever. They say all these good talking points about how rich the government is, but that has nothing to do with how well off the residents are.
Yeah.
There might be a relationship there, but at the end of the day, I don't think residents are feeling very rich right now.
Are there other?
I would agree.
Are there
would agree with
residents that like speak out against this and know what you're talking about?
There are a few. There is a dedicated base of people who are involved in local government.
Mhm.
Uh, they attend meetings. They
And these are voters.
yes, these are
Okay.
voters. But having if you had thousands, like say 5,000 people who paid attention to local government, that would be a lot. And it's just a drop in the bucket of all the voters that are out there.
Yeah.
There's 175,000 registered voters in Warren County, roughly.
Mhm.
So even if thousands of people are paying attention, it's just a drop in the bucket.
Yeah, it's just a fraction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that kind of goes into why money ends up winning politics so much, because when no one's actually paying that much attention, it just ends up being
It's easier to sway.
exactly
Right, because then you can just pay people to protest or vote.
Mhm.
So I kind of want to before I ask you like actual questions that are like polarizing,
Mhm.
if that's okay.
I don't mind.
So when you go to I want to ask you about when you went to this. This was a convention you were talking about. That
Are you talking about the county commissioner meeting?
yes, that sorry.
Yeah, I went to a county commissioner meeting on Tuesday. Yeah.
Okay. So and that was your introduction to local politics.
No, not my introduction to local politics. That happened like over like I think at least 2 years ago at this point. But it was my first time actually going and speaking at the meeting. Like
So
I've
it
been
was the
watching the
first
meetings
time.
for
Gotcha.
a while, but actually
Mhm.
going up and offering my testimony on whether or not we should raise the sales tax and offering my perspective. That was the first time I kind of had that back and forth.
I see.
Gotcha.
Okay. So you were against the sales tax, which I feel like most people probably would be against it. And but people can't vote on these issues. Who votes on these issues, or do the people actually vote on this?
Well, ideally, you vote on a representative, on whether it's a commissioner, like to make those decisions for you, to represent you on behalf of the community, and they're the ones who vote on whether or not to raise the sales tax. And they have a requirement to when they're considering this, they have to put in like a 30-day period of like the public can comment on it. So they held at least 2 meetings for public comment, and to their credit, they even held a third. They only have to do 2, but they held a third that was at 5:30 p.m. They're usually at 9, so they held a meeting for those who have to work 9 to 5, and allowed people to comment publicly on it.
Mhm.
That's the public input period. Now, whether or not they listen to the public comments is a whole different question.
Mhm.
Correct.
And again, it's like, do they have any incentive to listen right now? I don't know.
Yeah.
If you know you're just going to win your seat anyways, right?
Then what does it matter at the end of the day?
Go ahead.
Ask him what his view on the term limit.
So, do you think that? So, what are the term limits on commissioner right now?
There are no term limits
Okay.
on commissioners.
What do you
And
think about them? Do you think that there should be term limits for like even like senators or House representatives?
with the way things are right now, I think they are needed. Now, I wish I didn't have to say that. Why? And you know why?
Mhm.
Because ideally, the government shouldn't be able to tell you who you can or can't vote for. If someone wants to run for another term and you want to vote for them, you should have the right to vote for them.
But I think we've seen why that's a bad
Yes,
idea.
exactly.
Because
And that's why I start off by saying that, yeah, no, I think right now we need them, and but they also need to be done well. Because here's the thing: the Ohio State House has term limits, but so in the legislative branch, there's the House and there's the Senate, two different bodies. They function a bit differently. Both of them have term limit, but here's the thing: in Ohio is when you're term limited out, you can run again in a few years. So here's what happens: is you run for the House, you serve like 8 years in the House, you get term limited out. So you think, oh, okay, you're done, right? But nope. What you do instead is you run for the Senate, and then you serve in the Senate for a couple terms, and then you get term limited out. But since you didn't run for the House, that refreshed basically. You don't have that term limit was basically temporary, and so then you could just go back to the House and run again. Now, there's also some studies with term limits because California implemented term limits, and it showed that legislators kind of ended up relying more on lobbyists when you have term limits because they're not people who have been in government for so long that they feel like they've gained experience and expertise. They have to just rely on what the lobbyists give them because lobbyists they provide information to representatives and senators. Now, That information might be skewed. It might not be. I mean, everything has a bias, right? But I think term limits are something we have to be careful about. We can't just, with like many things, we can't just say yes and no. We have to actually think about what are the consequences of of not letting people gain experience in these bodies of government. Like, I don't want my doctor to only be allowed to have 8 years of experience and no more. Now, I think the problem is that we've just lost faith in our politicians. We don't trust that they're actually in it to legislate, to do good policy. And that's why we have to go back to these crude solutions of term limits, because we're forced to, because the government it doesn't feel like it's been serving us for
because
some time.
eggs are $4.
Yes. And gas is.
I don't think that's a politician's fault. I think it has something to do with the chickens are dying or something. Do you know anything about that, Will?
Well,
why are eggs so high?
At first, it had to do with like the whole COVID thing. It had to do with production lines. Not a whole lot of people were working these egg production lines. Therefore, they couldn't spit out as much product.
We got to get these chickens to start.
Gotta get them laying eggs. I don't know.
We need them to get busy. You know what I'm saying?
We need things to happen.
Got to bring in the roosters.
Exactly. Where are the roosters at?
It's more of a supply and demand thing.
It is. So there
We
wasn't.
need to give these chickens some.
Once COVID
Viagra.
happened, basically there was this huge halt on egg production line because there wasn't enough people to
COVID.
work the lines.
Of course it was.
Therefore, yeah, exactly.
COVID-19.
Everything is fucking COVID nowadays. You know what I mean? COVID-19, COVID. And no, I'm not going to do it. But you know, a lot of these factories that were pushing out cartons of eggs and they were selling them for dirt fucking cheap. They didn't have anybody to work at those factories anymore. Therefore, once the demand stayed consistent, but they weren't able to push out as much product, they had to make up their overhead by upping the price of the eggs themselves. Because if they're not able to push out enough, then they got to make enough on the little that they're pushing out in order to keep themselves above water.
I absolutely hate the way that eggs smell when I cook them. I'm not gonna lie.
What eggs are you cooking?
What the hell eggs are you cooking?
I don't know.
dog?
I just said the Eagle Boys exclusive. I just don't like it. I don't know. I just
You're
like
weird,
the smell.
dude.
I also do not like the smell of cooking oil. I can't stand it. I absolutely hate it. And
Who is this guy?
Is the problem with the egg or the nose?
He's big on smells. I don't know what it is about this guy. He's obsessed with smells.
Smells and camera angles.
Yes. Smells and camera angles.
Yeah.
Obsessed with them.
I wear my heart on my
get
sleeve.
it. I don't get it.
I just tell people things, and I was at work today, and I told them. So I've been going crazy watching Komodo dragons eat goats.
What the
A Komodo
fuck?
a Komodo dragon can eat a goat whole.
Wow.
So how do we get from local government to that?
We'll circle back, but
Where can we circle back?
I have seen a crocodile eat it's two different crocodiles rip a zebra in half.
Don't worry.
And these a whole pack of dogs. Okay, never mind.
I can't wait to hear this segue.
Okay. You want to circle back? Warren County has a dog catcher.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You know what? No, I know that because the dog catcher has caught my dog before. My dog ran out on the road, got ran over, every leg was broken, and someone called the police. So the Warren
just casually
Warren
drops
County
that.
dog catcher came and brought the dog to my door, and it's like legs were all broken. I'm sorry, this is terrible.
Oh,
you know what?
My
this
God.
is good for you though because we have the eagle right there. It's very patriotic.
Oh my
His
God.
legs are intact. I can see.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Anyways, okay, I'm sorry. Let's circle back. Okay, so how do you?
I'm sorry.
So
I'm sorry. Go.
how do you? How do you start running for? Warren County Commissioner.
Well, the technical version is I have to get 50 signatures. Really, I have to.
I'll sign it right now.
I already did. That's why I'm on.
Oh, okay.
But basically, it's we mentioned earlier there's a primary, right, to choose the candidate. Well, in order to get on that ballot, in order to say I want to run as a Democrat for county commissioner, I had to go and get at least 50 signatures.
You only need 50?
Only 50.
How do they know that you're not making up all the signatures?
Oh, they check. They are very meticulous.
Really?
And
do they call the people?
They just verify that the address is correct. They compare the signatures to past signatures. In fact, actually, though it's funny, there's one petitioner here for a different issue, not for a candidate, but for like one of the issues on the ballot, who is going to jail, I believe, or at least he's getting prosecuted for having forged one of the signatures. Now,
Was he a Democrat?
No, it was unaffiliated. They fly in, they pay people to come in from like Texas to do these petition drives. It's very interesting. But you know how they figured out he forged the signature?
How?
Because he forged the signature of the sheriff.
Oh my God. That's fucking hilarious.
Warren County Sheriff.
Oh my God.
It's like, wait, he didn't sign
Do
that.
you know
That's
the Warren County Sheriff?
hilarious.
I've spoken before, yeah.
So what was the point of you going to this hearing? Did you want to network? Did you want to get your foot in the door? And what's your next step? So I see you have all the buttons. That's really cool. I'll take one. If you're offering.
Of course.
Okay, yeah.
They're all yours.
That's great.
You can wear one right now if you want, actually.
Okay.
Put that shit on.
I don't even know what your views are yet, but sure, why not?
Perfect. Okay. Well, do you like flock cameras?
No.
Good.
You know what? I'll wear it just for that reason.
Perfect.
If
There
you're
you go.
against flock cameras, I'll wear your pen.
It doesn't need to be that complicated.
Okay.
You know what? I'm against flock cameras. Give me that.
All right.
There it is.
I guess
Logan for commissioner.
Eagle Boys are Democrat today.
He doesn't even live in Warren County anymore.
Well, it's fine.
Yeah, it's okay. You still represent.
You know what? My main address is in Warren County, so I guess I can still.
Oh, you
live
could.
there.
Still, yeah. And you probably still pay some taxes there, and
Mhm.
you know, at the end of the day, they're taking your money. So
Yeah.
I live right there on
And I
Monroe.
pay-
You know, the main road.
King's taxes, school taxes, it's like $30-$40 a check. I'm like, damn. I'm like, well, okay. I think we need to pay taxes for our kids, but like, is that a lot? Is $30-$40 a lot? No.
Well,
Okay, never mind. Take it back. Sorry. I'm a piece of shit.
Damn,
It just seemed like a lot.
some kids like
I work an
$40 for
hour of my
education,
week.
and you're like, no.
An hour.
No, fuck that.
In this economy,
I work 2 hours every month to contribute to our children. You know what? I'll do it.
well,
It's
okay.
fine.
Well, there is a question of why are property taxes so high right now? Because property taxes, what they use for is usually what they use.
This is something that Will is super interested in.
Our harbor taxes are sky high right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
And this is Hamilton County, right?
Yes.
So
It's the city of Loveland.
oh, it's the city of
That's
Loveland.
the property tax.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
best to take-
Gotcha.
They're all stacked on top of one another. Like, you know, Warren County has a property tax, and like the Ohio has a property tax. It's just it all gets stacked on top of one another, and the schools are a big driver of that. Now, I'm not blaming the schools because here's what happens basically is that the state of Ohio is basically strangling public schools right now. Is that they're trying to basically give money to private schools instead. They're basically sending public taxpayer funds to these private schools in the form of vouchers. Like basically one student gets 8,000 or one student is worth $8,000 to these private schools. Now these private schools, you don't know what they spend the money on. Unlike public schools are completely transparent. You have to be able to trace every single dollar. Private schools, the principal could buy a Lamborghini and you'd have no idea. Now,
Oh, that's right.
yeah, and so
Do
these
you
are
believe that kids should be spanked at school?
Oh my God.
This is a private school thing.
I guess I should say no, but that's such a terrible way to
Sorry.
phrase it. Oh my
That-
god,
That was a horrible
Wow.
way.
that was a terrible way to phrase it.
That's a terrible question. We can move on. Okay, what?
No, okay. What I'll say is,
We're professionals. This
You
is a
got-
real question.
yeah, I got hit with a gotcha right there. No, I don't think kids. No, I do not
We
think kids
gotta
should be
put-
spanked in schools.
We have to put heat on. Sorry, I'm
No,
asking. I have way worse
Oh,
questions than that. That was just a starter.
Oh yeah, no, that's on me for missing it. I should
Yeah.
no, I do not believe kids should be spanked in schools.
Okay.
I was thinking more of like in the private of your own home. I'm like, okay, you do what you and your
You
kids.
do you?
I cannot tell you how to parent your kids, is what I have to say. But in a school, I would have to say no. Teachers should not be spanking kids.
So what about for some like a wet willy or something?
No,
Okay.
No.
All right. Okay.
physical contact.
I'm a
Yeah,
no.
you shouldn't teach violence with
Mhm.
Yeah, I get it. And
Do
and I-
you?
no, I also
Do you
agree.
get it?
I haven't spanked either one of my kids, so it's
Oh
fine.
my God.
Yeah.
But sorry, what were you gonna say?
You can go on with what you said. Sorry about
Okay,
that.
so Ohio is funding private schools, and that money kind of is money that doesn't go to public schools. Now,
Mhm.
public schools, because they're feeling the stranglehold, what they do is they go to the ballot and they request a levy. A levy is basically, hey, could we raise your property taxes a bit, and that money will go towards schools. And so they put that on the ballot because they need the money. And residents are like, well, we want to fund our schools. We do support our schools and public education, so they vote for the levy. And then the next year, the Ohio State House strangles schools a little bit more, and they go back to the ballot, request money. Same cycle happens again and again and again.
And you're against this.
I am not. I am for funding our public schools. I am against using public funds for private schools.
I would agree with that as well.
I agree. Actually,
I know school choice can be a thing. Private schools, they are perfectly fine to exist. It's good to have alternatives. Again, it's a different form of competition. I just don't think it's our government's responsibility to fund them. I think it's their responsibility to fund our public schools.
I agree with that.
Does the commissioner have any power over that?
They don't have any statutory power. That basically means in the law does it say that they can change these things. They don't have any statutory power over school funding. Now, the thing about commissioners and about local office in general that I think tends to be forgotten is that they are at the end of the day local leaders in our community. They could still be speaking out about this problem. Like when they were debating the sales tax, a big part of it is that they were hoping to maybe provide some property tax relief in exchange for the sales tax. And they talk about all that. They talked about actually the schools being a large part of property. They're like, oh, you pay, Warren County property tax actually doesn't pay. It's not that much. It's mostly from the schools. But they don't actually talk about why is it that these property taxes are so high in the first place? Where are these pressures coming from? And I feel like as local leaders, they have a responsibility to speak out about the things that are actually causing the problems that we are now at the local government level needing to solve.
Do they say why they need more money?
The idea is that they are basically exchanging the sales tax for property tax relief. Basically, they want property owners to pay a bit less, and the sales tax will go up in exchange. I think that is a temporary band-aid to a larger problem. And I think you're kind of just making everyone pay a higher tax. Like some people will pay less, everyone will pay more, and those property owners are still going to be paying the higher sales tax. And I just think in general, these are local leaders. And especially here's the thing about being a strong Republican county here in Warren County. And by the way, that is shifting. Actually, Mason, the Democrats won pretty well.
They did. I saw that.
Exactly. Yeah. So it is shifting. I think people are noticing. But the thing is, they do have actually more of a voice. Like if they were to speak out, like a Democrat's expected to speak out against the state, but like these guys, they could speak out more. They could be more vocal about it and let their party know, hey, this isn't okay. This is causing problems for us here. This like property taxes are high because of the things that the legislature is doing, and it has to be the legislature's fault because the Democrats haven't been in power for the last however many years.
Yeah.
So it's like as leaders, they could be doing more. Maybe it's not in their like direct tool set to just say to change like how schools are funded. But I do believe that being a politician is being a leader, and it means that you have to be more than just doing like, I can't, that's not technically what's in my responsibility. So I'm not going to talk about that, or I'm not going to touch that at all. It's like, no, like, does it help your residents or not? Is it causing a problem for your residents or not?
Can they change how like what schools teach, or is that a state level thing?
That's a school board thing. That's your local school board thing.
I see.
And that's
but doesn't the state of Ohio have like there's like certain exams that students have to pass? Because like I know I had to pass a state exam when I was in high school. Does the commissioner have anything to do like with the schools other than because it sounds like to me it's more of like a community property tax, sales tax, levies, things like that.
Yep.
That is that all that it's limited to?
So it depends on how strongly you want to pursue it. You could just sit back and say it's not my power at all, not in my domain at all, so I'm just not going to touch it. On the other hand, you could try and explore alternative solutions to things. For example, what's in the county commissioner's power is public transportation. Actually, they can establish a board of public transit. And first off,
that happen?
I think it would solve a lot of our traffic problems, and it would also save you money on your commute when you don't have to spend that much on gas.
Well, I got a question. Do you think that the roundabouts are good? Because some people hate them, some people love them.
I like roundabouts. I think
they're good too.
Yeah, I like roundabouts. I kind of think they're fun. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Sometimes.
And they seem to be working.
Yeah, and they do help with traffic. I maybe
think of a bus going around.
Do you guys play
thing,
City
though.
Skylines at all?
No,
I don't.
No. Okay, sorry. It's a city managing game, and roundabouts are fun.
You know what? I actually think my brother plays that game. I think I've seen him do that.
I didn't know this, but being a city planner is like a job.
Oh yeah, no,
Oh, it
absolutely.
is.
I didn't like if someone's building like something new in a city, or if they're building a new city or whatever, it's people's jobs to map out the whole thing.
Yep.
I didn't know that until like recently.
And I would say the county commissioner. So the county commissioner isn't actually supposed to be an expert in any one specific thing. They are meant to be a local representative who listens to all of the experts in the community, and the city planner would be one of them. Like they are the ones who would make a decision on zoning or on roads, and ideally they would make that decision taking input from someone like a city planner or someone like or from the there's an office of like of engineering and roads. So
How do you plan on? So what's your game plan? And because I'm assuming you're gonna have to get funding of some kind.
Mhm.
So how do you network to appease to the Democratic Party to be like, hey, I want to run. These are my ideas. This
Mhm.
is what I want to do. Can you help me out? Like I don't know how that would go.
Well, because I started getting involved in local government a couple years ago now, that I've already done a lot of that building relationships of the people who have been doing the work here for a long time before me, and I'm just kind of building on the infrastructure that they have already built.
Okay.
Fundraising is going to be a big part of it, especially because the local incumbent party gets um, a lot of bigger checks. Like I mentioned, there's that one Republican who got a $40,000 check from a real estate developer because, well, the county controls zoning, which is real estate, and Warren County has very valuable land. So you can
Mhm.
kind of see why the money flows that way. And so it's a big hurdle to be up against. My average donation, I believe, is like 80 or $90, something like that. So actually pretty decent. Um, and it's all like grassroots. It's all people like y'all or people or doors I've knocked or events I've been at where I'm like, hey, I'm doing this thing. I am looking to get rid of flock cameras. I'm
So
looking.
you have to do it yourself. You have to
Yes,
go out and fundraise the money
absolutely.
yourself.
Yo, it's not some big glamorous thing at the local level.
So I'm about to say something. I'm going to cut this out
Mhm.
because I'm not exactly supposed to be saying this. Um,
Nice.
so there's a lot of local um, groups or entities that also fund people that are running, and one of them is the Freemasons, and they are very Christian. They accept other religions, but they're mostly Christian. They fund Republican people in like locally that want to run. I don't know if you
Mhm.
knew this, but but I wonder if there's other democratic institutions like that you could go and seek out.
You can go to things like there's a Working Families Party. They're more of like a, Mondani side of the aisle kind of people. There are groups you can go to that with like their endorsement comes check. Now, because I'm in a very unorthodox race where I'm a Democrat running in a very different kind of landscape, in a landscape that where getting an endorsement from a progressive wing might not do too much for me.
Mhm.
And again, it's like that's weird to talk about because like it's not that I agree with everything like progressive things have to say. It's not that like um, like the amount of values that I share with a progressive group kind of just depends on the group.
Right.
And it depends on specific topics. But I've just found that what I want to do right now is just get out into my community in Warren County. I want to go to the
Mhm.
community events. I want to knock on doors. I want to do a very community focused grassroots campaign because if we're ever going to move forward as a country, we have to come together as a community first.
When's the next election, and have you already started doing that?
It's November 3rd, 2026. Early voting starts October 6th. And I have already started like at least a month ago. I say a month ago, it's been more than way more than that.
Mhm.
But it's a gradual process of this of building out your team, finding volunteers, finding people who are willing to door knock, and then uh, it's like targeting. It's going to Democrat doors first because those are the people who are more likely to volunteer with you. And then once you built them up, you go to the Republicans and you start to do more of that persuasion. Now, what I will say is I've yet to have a bad conversation with someone. It Even staunch Republicans, I talk to them and they completely agree. They don't want like flock cameras in their neighborhoods. They don't like the direction things are going. They agree that we need younger voices in politics. So the problem isn't even just like putting together isn't just trying to like target them with specific messaging. It's just about trying to have that conversation at all. And
Finding things you can agree on.
exactly. And
I
turns
think
out
that's
there's a
very
lot.
important. Yeah.
And see, that's like kind of going back to what you said about there being younger blood, like
Mhm.
getting into local politics and things like that. Cause like, you know, what we were saying before, term limits and things like that. Like the reason that nothing in our general space of knowledge of where either the federal or state government, whatever it may be, is going is because it's all the same, like 10 or 20 people every single goddamn year. You know what I mean? And they're not coming up with new plans, new ideas. They're basically getting in there and saying, it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know?
Exactly.
And that's what I like to see with somebody like yourself, like getting into local politics to eventually, I would think, get somewhere to the federal government and things like that, you know? And even, I know he's not young, but like JD Vance, when I heard he was going to be vice president, I was like, oh shit. Like, that's going to be the youngest vice president we've ever had, ever, you know? And it was kind of refreshing to see someone like him, someone like yourself, like getting into it and being able to not only get into a zone of government that, you know, isn't widely, it doesn't widely have people your age, my age, anything like that. But
I think it's great.
But I think it's great.
Young.
I think it's great that a lot of people like, and that you were saying you can have all these conversations with like Democrats and Republicans alike, and it's still a civil conversation. Like whatever, what happened to that?
Exactly. And I think a part of that too is that it's what the internet is showing us. So I joined X for the first time. It's not that
so did we as a group.
Yeah, I haven't seen
Eagle Boys on X.
All right, follow the Eagle Boys on X.
Yeah, you heard it here. Right? You heard it here.
And also follow Ian Logan Ohio. I got it.
Logan Ohio.
Got a plug real quick.
Exactly. Now, obviously I've seen tweets before, been on Twitter at some point in that, but like not actually had an account. And I actually, I created the account, I joined it, and it is just a wall of outrage. It's a wall of text of just different hot takes and crazy opinions that are designed to get you upset. And I'm like, oh my God, no wonder. Like,
no wonder people don't want to get on this anymore.
Have you noticed that there's like a gender war online of like men versus women?
Oh yeah.
I feel like it used to be, gays and straights. I don't know if gays is an appropriate word, but I'm going to say it anyways. And it was black and white. Now I think it's like a gender war. I think like this is the conspiracy, theorist in me. I think that they keep switching it. I think it's going to go back to like something else at some point.
Well, I think culture wars are the way they keep us distracted from the
sales tax.
Yeah, sales taxes,
property
from
tax.
I think there is a class disparity. If you look at the income discrepancy between the amount of wealth that the bottom 50% of Americans has versus the amount of wealth that the top 1% of Americans have, basically, it used to be that the bottom 50% owned more wealth than the top 1%, and that is just completely swapped. Now the top 1% own far more than the bottom 50%, and the problem there is that it becomes, you start to think that the system's rigged against you. You start to believe that there is no social mobility because it's just so that difference is too big to overcome. Like Elon Musk is a trillionaire, while most people can't even have to work 2 jobs.
Yeah,
and most people can't even afford a home. Like with this whole property tax stuff, it's like, I do think we need property tax relief. But we also need to think about how people my age, people our age, are struggling to even buy a home in the first place. Like home ownership used to be a core tenet of being American.
It's the American dream.
Exactly. One man working for his family as a factory worker in like the 50s and 60s could support his family and buy a house. That is so far-fetched nowadays. That is a fantasy today.
With both parents working still.
Yep.
Very unattainable.
See, because even with my brother and I, we just got a house together like about a year ago at this point. In fact, it's not even. No, thank you. It's not even been a year at this point. But I already
got a really cute corgi too.
We do, yeah. We gotta keep care of the little dog.
Yeah,
anyway, so I remember when we started looking at houses, started looking at the housing market. Abysmal, it was freaking abysmal. And I remember in the middle of it, because I'd never asked my parents this. They live in a, basement, 2-level house, like a very, not like a mansion by any means. No, not like that. But like, they do have a bigger home than most.
They have a nice house.
They do have a very nice house.
Very nice basement.
And I asked them, I was like, how much did you pay for this house when you got it? Granted, it was in 1999 or 95, but I was like, how much did you pay for this house when you got it? And they were like, it's going to piss you off. And I was like, was like, how much was it? $185,000.
Wow.
$185,000.
$200K. That's
The 1-story ranch that my brother and I just got, $246,000.
Oh my goodness.
no.
Insanity.
When I bought this house in 2021, it was 192,000. I'm now valued at 315,000.
That's what I'm saying.
House down the street just sold for 330.
It's because you live in Loveland, I bet.
It
is.
But
Yeah.
house,
It
that's
100%.
how it's going everywhere.
But that's where it's going, is that like
Yeah.
the American dream isn't as accessible as everyone thinks it is anymore.
So you could make like $100,000 off your house if you sold it.
Yeah.
That's
But if
Easily.
you don't sell it, instead you got to pay the property taxes every year, valued at that high amount.
Correct.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's like, what direction is this country going in? Is it going in a way that that feels like we're actually making progress, where each generation is going to be better off than the one that came before it? Because it was on a good trajectory.
It was.
Things were going well.
We're going to become an AI surveillance state. We're going to own nothing and be happy. We're going to eat bugs. We're going to eat mayonnaise mosquito sandwiches.
You're going to order GTA 6 in a box, and there's not even going to be a disc in it anymore.
No.
That's-
No. It's literally just going to be a box and it's just going to say, "You got played, motherfucker."
But there will probably be dicks in the game, so it's fine.
More than likely.
True.
Yes.
Probably.
Yes, more than likely.
God, I'm so excited for that game, but I guess
Dude, GTA 6. Let's go.
Not for that though, but it's for everything else.
yeah.
Of all the things that are going bad right now, I can say the one thing that is going good is the trajectory of gaming right now.
Oh, it's
We got
wonderful.
GTA 6, Halo Campaign Evolved. We've got New Legend of Zelda coming
Oh
out.
yeah.
Like,
the new season.
we're having a great time.
Have you ever played Diablo 4?
I'm familiar with the Diablo games. My best friend plays them, but I haven't played them.
They're so good, man.
It's so good. I love Diablo. I mean, at first it's very hard to understand, but once you get into it, oh, it's
It's
wonderful.
amazing.
I need to add it to my list, but these days my schedule is quite
Quite
Oh,
overtaken
yeah.
by local politics, but
Mhm.
that's okay. That's okay. You're fighting for the future. That's what we care about.
So tell us what you know about Flock, because it seems like the more that
Yes.
that we try to compete with China, the more that
Mhm.
we become like them, the more that they compete with us, the more that they become like
Mhm.
the US. And it seems very, because we have Palantir. Did you know that the word Palantir means crystal ball?
Oh yeah, do you know it's reference to Tolkien?
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings.
That
It's
is so weird.
so
And
on
he
the
is
nose.
he had a whole speech about the Antichrist,
Mhm.
which some people say like oh, Trump is Antichrist, or so is the Antichrist is not going to come for a long time. We have to go through a set of judgments first. But that's a whole different thing if you believe in that. But yeah, it's weird that we have all these flock cameras. The government is now watching our public spaces. It's uncomfortable. No one likes it. I don't even know what the point of it is. I think that we're heading in a very bad direction. And I was really interested to know like what you basically know about it.
Well, I think to start, we have to think about why are we not okay with it in the first place, and that stems from kind of the core tenets of this country when we created a government, is that you can't trust any one individual, and you can't trust you can't put so much power into one institution. That's why we have the separation of powers, and that's why actually there's a quote from James Madison that talks about, if you have all three branches, executive, legislative, and judicial, in the hands of whether it's one man, one group, then that is the very definition of tyranny, which I think is a quote to think about today when we have one party controlling all three branches at the federal level and the state level. But the reason that matters is because flock cameras, they allow one officer to track your movements across the entire country, even if that officer lives in the completely opposite side of the country as you. It allows agencies to track your movements across the country, and it's also not even secure either. So flock cameras, they are run by a company called Flock Safety. Flock Safety, actually, they get a pretty decent investment from Palantir as well. So it's all.
Yeah, that makes.
all put
I didn't
together.
know that, and that's good to know. Then it makes a lot of sense. Peter Thiel is a weirdo,
Yep.
and he moved to Argentina, I believe, because
Oh, I have something to say about that.
the Epstein files.
Well, okay, well that too.
He's,
but-
okay. Yeah.
That the Epstein files too. We can't forget about them. But on him moving to Argentina, I think my hot take here is that I think it's just one of many moves to try and destabilize the credibility of the United States. I think that I think it is in the interest of a lot of these tech billionaires, of a lot of these higher profile tech individuals, to make the United States seem like it's losing its credibility, destabilizing, so that they can start to exert even more influence over over the conditions, over the people here in the United
But
States.
big tech is on the side of
Mm.
Trump.
They're on the side of whoever's in power. But I also think they're trying to they have their own game that they're playing as
It
well.
seems like Trump has taken advantage of or not. They've he's taken an advantage of big tech, being by his side. I feel like it kind of goes both ways.
Oh yeah.
But it seems like it's big tech and Trump against trans capital nationalism, if you know what that is.
I think I would like a briefing on that. Well, how would you describe it?
So it's it's basically how the world functions right now. You know how like
Mhm.
earlier I was saying there's like a bunch of
Mhm.
offshore banking accounts. Basically, any country can take their money from like local elites and send it to an offshore banking account,
Oh,
right? And then they can take that money and they
Swiss
can do
bank
whatever they
accounts.
want with it, right? And then that promotes corruption, and that
yeah.
also promotes people to make decisions. While they're in power, they might be able to get donated like a bunch of money, and then they can just send it to these bank accounts, and then Switzerland
Yep.
or I don't know if it's Cuba or like the Caribbean islands or something, but that money's gone.
Oh yeah, yeah. And
So I think Trump is, and there's this whole system that started with the Bank of England, um, and I think that big tech doesn't like it. They're at
Mhm.
odds with each other at how our whole world works today monetarily. So that's kind of what I mean by it.
I would have to look more into that because I guess my thought is why would they not just be leveraging the system as well? Why would
Because
these?
why would they want to change it? Everything's going so well for them. The elites have been, in power for
Mhm.
so long. They like the way that things are. And it's almost the system itself is almost like demonic because it promotes corruption. You can do anything you want with all that money you get.
Oh yeah, no, and the way that money doesn't have borders, the way that money can just be diluted and moved around and shuffled under LLCs and all these crazy things, um, is very important. It's something that you kind of see at the local level too. You have to if you want to find corruption at the local level, you look at the property transfers and you look at the zoning changes, and you're going to see that a lot of these are behind LLCs. A lot of these are behind these groups that don't have an individual behind them, or if they do have an individual behind them, it's an individual that's representing a firm who might also be an LLC, and then layers and layers to obstruct who the actual owner is, who is actually benefiting from these transactions. Because yeah, that system that you're describing, it's I read a bit about it in a book called Moneyland.
Mhm.
I have to.
And I said that wrong before. I meant to say transnational capitalism. I said transcapital national.
I thought you were about to say trans people. I'm not going to lie to you. I was
No,
like,
no,
what
I mean,
what the hell does that have to do with
We can
anything?
get into that if you want.
I don't think that big
I'll
tech
do
and
it.
trans people are necessarily at odds.
No,
That's-
they're
Yeah. No, I think let's not even. Okay. Anyways,
but okay, could I
yeah, please.
about um the relationship between big tech and Trump is that what I don't like going on is the incentives that big tech currently has when it comes to business. Actually, this doesn't just apply to big tech; it really applies to any business. Is that if Trump is proposing a regulation or a tariff that's going to cost your business money, or if Congress wants to do something that's going to like regulate your technology and cost your business money, and you know that Trump has the power to do something about that legislation, ideally the business would adapt to that. They would just figure out how to make their products better or to work on the making things more still affordable for consumers so that like they might eat the cost of the tariffs. Um they might invest a certain amount of money into a different sector. But with Trump, the way he plays the game is that if you give him something, he'll drop whatever he's doing against you. If you give him $10 million for the ballroom, then he might drop whatever regulation he's thinking of putting on you. And so that gets rid of the marketplace incentive and instead just puts an incentive so that businesses put their money towards bribes or at least something the equivalent of that rather than actually having to invest uh, in R&D to maybe figure out how to lower the prices of things so that when they have to put that price on the consumers don't balk as much, or just figure out some other solution that's not just bribe the
It's
president.
very complex, and
You know.
this is something that I don't know much about.
Mhm.
So it's very interesting.
Well, also, I mean, it comes down to a kind of like a duality aspect of this when it comes to even like big pharma. There's more money to be made in treating a disease than it is to cure it.
And I work in big pharma.
And that's exactly what it is that,
I love big pharma.
It's much more money. There's much more money involved in bribing the president. There's more money to be made in bribing the president, that way than it is to be like, all right, cool, we're good. Like, we'll do it. Do what you say. All that.
I think it's part of why we're seeing so many young folks be turned off by capitalism these days. Now, I'm going to get into the whole capitalism and communism debate and socialism by saying this. I think that capitalism and communism are, at this point, outdated terms. Maybe not academically, but in the sense that the way we use them, that at this point, they're just buzzwords.
We don't really have true,
I actually kind of agree with that.
Yeah, they're just they're just buzzwords that put us into separate camps. And it's like that there are certain principles behind them, like how much competition versus state control. But here, an ideal of capitalism is that businesses should be investing it towards making their products better, right? That you make more money by making a better product. But in today's world, you make more money by exploiting the consumer, by gathering their data and selling it, by figuring out how to psychologically manipulate them into buying your burger. I don't know.
The problem is in my opinion, is like the central banks. So the central banks is also on the side of transnational capitalism. The central banks control things like that. They say, okay, we're going to raise these interest rates. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. So sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I think you raise a good point in that. So I don't know how accurate what you're saying is. I will say at 25, my knowledge has limits. Right?
You should definitely look into it. And I know this is someone that I listen to that breaks it down very well. He recently become I guess I would say internet famous. His name is Professor Zhang, and then he has the YouTube channel Predictive History. And a lot of people think he's like a quack or crazy, but he's kind of exaggerated on his credentials a little bit, but he breaks these things down very well for the average person to understand. And
they called Alex Jones crazy too, but look at that.
They did, and he was right about a lot of things.
A lot of things.
I don't know if he was right about the Sandy Hook stuff.
No.
That was pretty bad.
That was completely wrong.
That's what everyone.
100%.
He actually used to be a Democrat. I don't know if you knew that. He was against Bush.
So did Trump, I think, actually.
But Alex Jones did a lot of things in his whole career, I guess you could say. The Sandy Hook thing is what pretty much ended him. It ended his show. He just had to give his show up.
That's fair because it's a pretty bad.
No, that's a pretty big thing to fuck up.
However, he did expose the Clintons for worshiping our effigies. Have you heard of what's that place called?
Get back to the flock conversation. This is boring.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, the Clintons are they're old news now.
Okay.
They have their.
Well, I didn't bring up Alex Jones. Nick did.
I was just bringing it up as a point. Like, you said that guy was being deemed as crazy.
Am I being?
And
boring?
I was like, there have been crazier people who have been right about things.
Yeah.
Let me talk about flock.
Okay.
I've been reading about it. It's super interesting.
It's crazy stuff. And if you'll permit me to say one last thing on this though, because when you're talking about those things, and I know
as much time as you want.
Yeah, I don't have the. Oh, be careful with that.
Look that up though. Look up Alex Jones going to Bohemian Grove. I'm telling you, it's crazy, and it's a bunch of officials. Okay, go ahead though. Sorry.
It's just okay. Here's what I'll say. God, I could go on so many tangents right now. But to end this subject here, going back to what you're talking about, those banks and how I was talking about, some of how capitalism is kind of strayed from from the ideals it's supposed to represent. If we are going to make something new, if we are going to make something different, that doesn't just mean we throw out the baby with the bathwater. We don't just take the whole thing and we say it's broken and take none of it. We have to figure out, what did the old system do well and what is it doing poorly, and then make something better from that. Like, I believe in a lot of the tenets of capitalism. I think private property is very important. In fact, I think we own less than we ever have. I think that competition is good, and I do believe that. I do like the principles of what you contribute to society is what is proportional to what you're paid. And unfortunately, we're not seeing that with things like teachers and social workers and all these other groups. And I also believe that that we should incentivize corporations to make a better product. That the way they make money is by making a better product for consumers. And all of that can still exist, and we have to figure out, okay, what is it doing wrong? Where is it going haywire? What institutions are going wrong? How do they need to be fixed? Instead of just saying, I just hate capitalism, or fuck socialism. How about we just figure out, okay, what's going well, what's going wrong? Let's make something new from there. Because we have inherited a country that lets us look at the whole thing and say, okay, time to do something new, time to do something different. We have inherited a government that lets us actually step up and speak out about it. But so many of us, especially our generation, have lost faith that we can even do anything at all. But then it's a catch-22, because you know how boomers seem like they run the government right now.
Yeah.
Oh, boomers are the ones who actually vote. They're the ones who actually go out there. And when we absolve ourselves of the right of self-governance, then we just end up becoming pawns in a bigger game.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the last thing I have to say on that subject.
But anyway, flock cameras.
Flock cameras.
The big subject here, because that is something that in my knowledge base of this whole thing, all I have to say about it is, what the fuck? Why on God's green earth is that a thing? Why are we being monitored like this? And you were saying before how there are already places that are taking them down. And they're saying, no, we're not going to do this. Like, it doesn't matter what people have to say about it. We're not going to be a part of this. But your, I guess, opinion about it is of the same. That why are we doing this?
Yeah, we've kind of just let them crop up all around us. They've actually been around for like a couple years now, and I think a big part of it is the way that they market it. They say it's for safety, it's for public safety. Like, it's gonna stop crime. It's going to. They say they delete the data after 30 days, and trust me, there are loopholes around that. And it's all under this guise of safety, because it's very easy to say, "Oh, I'm for public safety, and that's why we need these flock cameras." And if you try to challenge that, then then it seems bad. It's the same reason why the government likes to say we're doing this for the kids, like for all this invasive like privacy stuff, the whole ID requirements. Oh, it's for the kids, and when that's just a shield from the actual reasons, and it ignores the consequences that come from it. So, flock cameras, they are basically a way for the government to watch where you're going, where are you coming from, where are you going to, and they say they just read license plates, but it's more than that. They read that's the dents on the car, it's the bumper stickers that you have, and at the end of the day, the cops aren't looking at a Honda Civic to find a Honda Civic. They're looking at it to find you. Now, you can, in a perfect world where humans are angels, well, first off, there's no need for government. That's straight from the Federalist Papers, that if men are angels, there's no need for government.
Correct.
But men are not angels, and men are the ones in control of these systems. We've seen them being used by police officers to track exes. We've seen them being used to track immigrants. We've seen them being used to track a woman who's had an abortion in Texas. Now, whether or not you agree with these issues, at the end of the day, who knows who's going to be behind the wheel at some point? What if, say, weed was just recently legalized in Ohio, and despite the state house's best efforts to do otherwise, what if at some point, 20 years from now, they decide that weed should be illegal, and now there's all this data from the flock cameras that shows, oh, these are the people who went to dispensaries before, so we should keep an eye on them. Or what if it's just something completely different, where an officer just wants to look up that database for whatever reason? What if he wants to check on his cousin in California? He can do that because he has access to a nationwide network. Because Flock, at the end of the day, is a private company that has put up cameras all over the country.
So that's what it is. It's not just like, that's just not just an entity that's made for a state level level of security. It's national.
Exactly. It allows you to track a vehicle from all over the country. And again, I don't think just vehicle. I say people. It lets you track people all over the country. I visited a camera actually down here in Maineville to see, to just make a video on it actually. And we actually drove by a different camera that we saw. It was just one camera, and it was pointed towards a neighborhood.
Did you take any pictures of it or anything?
It was actually one of the videos I sent y'all.
Okay. Okay, that's good, because I want to pull that up, and I'm going to take that from the email, and I'll post it so people can see what they look like. I think that's very important to have a visual. So thank you for that.
Visual here of what a flock camera looks like.
Exactly, because they're actually, once you know what they look like, they're very easy. They're pretty easy to spot. You start seeing them everywhere. Now, this one, it was interesting to me because it was just one camera, and they're supposed to be looking at traffic, right? They're supposed to be catching people on the streets or whatever, and it wasn't pointed at the major road nearby. There was a major road that was running here, and there was a neighborhood road, and it wasn't pointed at the major road. It was pointed at the neighborhood. I'm like, who are we watching here? Like, why are we watching our residents? Why are we keeping track of where they leave and come from? And in fact, I pulled up a map of flock cameras. You guys, Actually, I'm going to pull one up here to show y'all.
If you have it on your iPad too, we'd love to see it. And if you also want to send that, that's a very important thing.
This is blowing my mind right now.
Yeah, this is crazy.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
I looked at your guys' neighborhood actually, and there's like you guys are surrounded by like a triangle of like major roads, and there's like a flock camera on like each of those points. Like basically, you can't leave your neighborhood area, your local area here without getting tagged by a flock camera.
Oh wow!
And
that's insanity.
Here's the thing, like if you look at why do flock cameras matter? We've been talking a lot about big picture stuff, so I want to take a moment to say that I'm running for Warren County Commissioner, and that actually is where the flock cameras are coming in. Local government is where the flock cameras are being installed. They are harassing local governments all over the area, being like, "Hey, we want to give you this new technology, this public safety technology," and they are nonstop. They go to. I was talking to one of the Deerfield Township trustees. They go there like every single time there's a new like solved case that they can talk about. They go back to Deerfield Township and they're like, "Hey, let us put the flock cameras here. Let us put the flock cameras here." Luckily, that township has said no, so it's one of the few areas around here that do not have flock cameras.
Which one did you say?
Deerfield Township.
Deerfield. Okay, so I can go to the movies and no one knows that.
No one knows that you.
Well, no. Well, here's the thing:
that you just saw the new Toy Story by yourself.
Yeah, or that. Have you seen that movie Obsession?
Yes, I have.
Oh, it's so good. No, you need to watch it. It's about this girl, or this guy who spoiler alert. He makes this wish, and then this girl falls in love with him, but it's not really her. That's all.
The general idea is be careful what you wish for.
Yeah,
that's the general idea.
But I'm not gonna say anymore because it's gonna ruin it.
Be careful what you wish for.
It's very gory.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Careful what you wish for with public safety.
I think there's a real debate here. I mean, there is a real debate on the trade-off between safety and civil liberties. But I don't know, if you think you don't care about privacy, let me stand outside your bedroom window for 10 minutes and see if you change your mind.
Oh man!
Actually, that's a great way of putting it. To be quite honest.
So here's a map of.
You can watch your whole
this
family.
This is all
dinner.
the same network of cameras.
Oh wow!
Jeez!
Yeah, send that to the email if you haven't.
Good freaking God!
Yep, they are everywhere.
That's unnecessary.
It's all the same network too. And look, so in Illinois, for example, they say you know how they advertise all these. Oh, it's just for this, just for that. You'd hope they'd follow the law, right? Well, Illinois passed a privacy law, basically not allowing flock footage to be used for certain things. Well, they were caught using it anyway. They were caught in violation of that law, sending the data that they weren't supposed to send to federal agencies and other government officials. And I looked in the contract that the Warren County Commissioner signed, and so they say they delete the data after 30 days, but they can share that data within that 30 days. They can share that data with any government official, local law enforcement officer, or third party, so long as Flock believes the request was made in good faith. So if you take the legalism of it, they can share the data with third parties so long as they believe the request was made in good faith, and they're the ones who decide whether the request was made in good faith or not. And they're talking about third parties, so they could, in essence, just send it off somewhere, and then the data can stay there. They delete it off their servers so to say they complied with the 30 days, but the data was still out there. And here's the other thing too. Warren County is paying $90,000 a year for these cameras. So they're spending $90,000 of taxpayer funds to spy on you. And that...
Oh, there's one right next to Phillips Park.
Yeah, and I don't even think that's where they're making the money. I think data is an extremely valuable industry these days. I think it's whether it's anonymized or not, very valuable industry these days. Something to think about.
There's one right next to there's one right at Bishop's Quarter.
Right next to Bishop's Quarter.
Oh my gosh.
That's what that is.
Where's y'all's place again?
I'm gonna
that's sickening, dude.
I know where I'm at. I can find it.
I'm not gonna lie, that is a very sickening fact, to be perfectly honest.
It's like, do you trust the government to always be using this data in the right way?
That's the thing, that what you were saying about good faith. Mm-hmm. It takes one person to make that decision. Mm-hmm. One person is going to make that decision.
We are going to be, this is crazy that I just found where we are.
So you guys are lucky in that you don't have any immediately nearby, but that's why I was talking about the major roads. Because if you zoom out.
There's one right next to Lever Park. There's two at Sims Township Park. There's one right next to Loveland High School. Wow. Oh my!
next to the school, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
right here's Loveland High School, and then there's
that's
one
a little
watching the road
weird.
that comes into Loveland High School.
Don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, Will, are you listening to everything I'm saying right now? This is crazy.
Can you leave Loveland without getting spotted by a flock camera?
No.
No, I think it's impossible.
There's absolutely like us, Will. There's one when we go to work every day.
There should be
Loveland there.
There is on West Loveland. There's one,
We don't
2, 3. There's 3 on West Loveland alone, and then
I don't go West Loveland. That's good.
I've gone West Loveland more than I would like to admit.
On North Lebanon Road, there's 3.
Shit.
That's great. That's awesome. That's pretty cool.
There's West Loveland.
It's like there's that Benjamin Franklin quote of those who would give up their liberty in exchange for safety deserve neither liberty nor safety.
Yes, that is actually
some of these are in neighborhoods. There's one.
I said it right, but
Paxton Avenue.
And I mean, based on your pin as well, this is George Orwell's worst nightmare. This is literally everything he didn't want it to be. For the camera one time.
Make 1984 Orwell fiction.
Fiction again. Let's do that.
Favorite book of all time.
Yep.
Yeah, honestly, one of the best. You know,
it was
mind blowing
for today.
Thank you for that.
That's.
When you look at this map,
I didn't know
I'm uncomfortable.
I didn't know it was that bad, and there was that many in our area.
See, also
all over the country. And here's the thing, too. You guys know Fourth Amendment. You know you have to get a warrant for search and seizure.
Yes,
they don't need to get a warrant for any of this.
No, they're just recording all times of the day.
It only
24/7,
took them
365.
It only took them 2 years to do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's concerning.
That is deeply concerning on how quick that took.
Eagle Boys exclusive.
Yep.
We're
entering a world that is where algorithms are going to control everything that we see, and now we're going to have no digital privacy. We now having no physical privacy either.
Can you talk closer to the mic?
Sorry. So we're entering into a world where we already have very little digital privacy, if any at all, and we're going to have these algorithms that are going to be controlling what we see. And I think we need to do now, and not like honestly, we need to do this yesterday. Start to get ahead of of those algorithms, making sure that they are publicly accessible, making sure that we know what these things are feeding us, because we're being captured in the digital realm, and the flock cameras complete the full picture. They go to the physical world. They know where you're going to the grocery store, where you're dropping off your kids for sports. They are tracking your movement in the real world. So once big tech has both those elements, what can they do with that? What does that mean for us as a people? Because I don't trust this is always going to be used altruistically. I will concede that it is possible that some people who have committed a crime have been caught that would not have otherwise been committed. But that is a natural consequence of a government that can watch everything, of an all-seeing eye. And as Americans, better than anyone, should recognize that is not a trade-off worth making, that is a trade-off that endangers all of us at the end of the day.
Can I tell you a quote that I think you might want to use in the future?
Absolutely.
Those who would trade freedom for security deserve neither.
He just said that.
Oh, did I miss it?
5 minutes ago.
Well, since you brought it, let's look up. I think I didn't put it.
Was I looking at the thing?
Yeah, you were.
Okay, yeah. That's why I'm sorry. But Benjamin Franklin said that. So
hey, it's such a good quote. We had to say it twice. And now
we had to say it twice.
I wasn't paying it. I was mesmerized.
Oh, that's amazing.
Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety.
That's wonderful. And I'm glad that you did say that. Great minds think alike. We're on the same page here.
Yeah.
And I'm wearing the button, so it's cool.
It's funny because the Republican Party, cool. They're the ones who are supposed to be against this Big Brother stuff. So I thought when I was growing up, I thought they were supposed to be like small government against the Big Brother stuff. Yes. And here we are seeing one of the most expansive federal governments like in history, sending literally deploying the American military against U.S. citizens. That has not happened since school desegregation. And I will agree. I think it was justified then. It was up against the school, but now they've been sending it up against cities with protests. And I'm just not a fan of the federal overreach. And I'm also not a fan of the Big Brother stuff. What does the Republican Party become?
What if homeless people, so they can just, I know there's no homeless people around here, but
well, there is, but you just don't see them.
But so that they can just see all of the homeless people and just identify all of them, which I think is I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. But
so here's what Flock would say to that, to play a bit of devil's advocate here, is that they would say, oh, we're just looking at the license plates. Now, what I have to say to that is that they're taking all of this data into their systems that are expressly meant to identify people. And I think that even if the footage right now is only being used for, if the cops can only access like license plate, like only look up the license plate, that doesn't mean that Flock isn't using that data for other purposes. And in fact, in the contract again signed by the Warren County Commissioners, they are able to use the footage that they've gathered for training their machine learning algorithms. Now, the funny thing is, they say they anonymize the footage, but their entire business model is to identify people. So how do you identify or anonymize the footage for a product that identifies people? And at the end, then that's the thing. It's contradicting.
This is a terrible time. Anyone who has a public sex kink, this is a terrible time for them.
Not
God damn it.
Will's just like, what the fuck?
Oh my God.
Sorry, I didn't mean to scream.
Either way. So also it's to go off the whole Flock.
It's true though, thing, right?
I'll tell you something that blew my mind a few years ago. Now, granted, this wasn't in like Warren County, Hamilton County, or anything like that. This actually happened in Washington Courthouse. And this is actually my first taste of you're being watched all the time. It was about it was about 5 or 6 years ago. Actually, it's probably more like 8 years ago at this point. Anyway, I was driving through Washington Courthouse. I was speeding. Yes, I know I was. Whatever. I got pulled over by just a state trooper. Whatever. Fine. Give me my ticket. I'm on my way. Whatever. As soon as he pulled up there, what he said to me concerned me immensely. He said, well, first he was kind of being a dick about it. He was just like, I'm going to keep this short because you obviously got places to be. And I was like, man, shut up. No, but he handed me a pamphlet when he wrote me my ticket. And he was like, you were clocked by our drone about 10 miles up. And I was like, hold up. No. Don't go back to your car. You can't just speed past like you didn't say what you just said. You were tracking me with a drone for 10 miles? That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make any damn sense. Like, first of all,
they probably weren't tracking you the whole way, but they
oh, no, they were. I read it.
Oh.
I read the pamphlet.
I would think they just have a drone in one place and they just track all the cars that go by.
No, so what happens is apparently the drone is like basically flying around, just doing circles basically. And if they catch a car consistently going over the speed limit for more than 10 miles, then they send a signal to the state troopers and say, it's this car, this license plate, this color.
Oh. How would you feel if, this might sound crazy, but how would you feel if the drone was the one that pulled you over?
That would be even more concerning.
That's mind-blowing.
I would be like, what are we doing?
Oh.
Like, let me just unplug you real quick. Like, I don't know,
Yeah, what if the drone had a gun?
I mean,
yeah.
That's where we're going.
Exactly.
That's what I feel.
Like it almost. When you first said that, I registered it as a joke, but then, but no, it's not. It's real.
It really isn't.
It's real, and that's why again, local government matters because who's ultimately going to be deciding whether or not the sheriff can order robotic police to be a part of his force?
Have you seen Boston?
It's going to be the
Dynamics.
Oh yeah, I've been seeing their stuff. It's cool tech. I love
really
the tech,
cool stuff.
But it's going to become like police dogs. They're going to be robot dogs with guns on them and lasers, and they're going to read our minds. And then we're done.
Have to start thinking about. We have to start thinking now about what that's going to look like. Because this world's going to come onto us fast. It's already kind of here. It's not going to be long until we have robots policing our streets, and we have to think about: do you want to have your rights deprived by a human or a clanker?
A clanker, yes.
Like if I'm going to be arrested, it better be by another human being at the very least. If
we got to
start
start doing push-ups, dude.
dude. Actually, that kind of brings up even a better point. I just 2 days ago, I went to Kroger just getting stuff for dinner, right? And I was walking around and I saw this like thing just rolling through the aisles. I didn't know what it was, just this like little tall kind of podium looking thing just going through the aisles. And I was like, what the hell is this thing? So I kind of walked up to it and I noticed there are cameras on each side of it going all the way down. And then on either side of the front face, all the way down. And then they had a little screen that gave it eyes. It was an employee. It was a stock employee.
Robots.
What it does,
Oh my God.
what it does, and I looked into this as well. What it does is apparently this thing rolls up and down the aisles and it'll like stop every now and again and like take photos or like take video or something or do. Apparently, what it does is it counts inventory of what's on the shelf in the store, right? And that is just that's its function. It keeps track of all inventory in the store, but it just rolls around and goes to every aisle and just does that. But here's my deal. Why did you put eyes on it? Like, why did you put blinking eyes that like...
To make it more customer friendly.
I know,
the
but
customer comes
here's
first.
what I'm getting at with that. All the cameras that are on that thing, you don't think they're picking up other people that are just walking by it?
Oh yeah.
You don't think so? Let me tell you, because they are.
No, they're recording all the foot. Like they capture the license plates. Yes, that's what they use it for the police. Yes, but at the end of the day, all that footage is going straight to Flock, and it means by affiliation it goes to Palantir as well. Now, I guess I should hedge my words there and say possibly. Who knows? You know, I can't say that for sure. Don't sue me, Peter Thiel. Actually, please do. I would love the press. But
Peter Thiel, where you at?
I like the
Or
way
Thiel.
you think.
But because we need to start having this conversation, like
Mm-hmm.
like again yesterday, and I don't think that those that are currently in office right now are thinking about it in the way that our generation thinks about it. That we just need to be thinking about it. I would love to have a Star Trek future. Like I'm a big Star Trek fan. I grew up watching The Next Generation. I love the dynamic also in the original series between Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. I love the idealism of humanity. Like I do have faith in humanity. That's why I'm doing this. That's why I love this country. Like I do believe that we are capable of great things. But
Spock is an elf, right?
yes,
Okay.
no, he's a Vulcan.
He has pointed ears,
That's
though,
right. The Vulcan nerd.
I've
bitch.
never seen
That's
the
right.
show
He is a Vulcan.
He's okay. If you haven't seen, he's basically an alien called a Vulcan, but yes, he has the pointy ears. And the whole thing is that he's half human, half this alien. And this alien's like aliens are like super logical people. They don't understand emotions or anything like that. And then you have Kirk, who's like this big bravado, big bravado guy who is logical, but he thinks with his emotions too. Like he recognizes that feelings are important and that they matter. And there's that balance between emotion and logic that we all kind of face in our lives at some point. And I think that's
so he's a space elf.
He is a space elf. No, actually, I think that is completely correct.
Okay.
Kirk or
I think that's
Picard?
really cool.
Yeah. Space elf.
Kirk or Picard?
Picard.
Picard.
I never got into
Actually,
Star Trek.
I get that.
Yeah.
I get that.
Well, I think it's funny that Star Trek has this thing called the holodeck, where basically it's this like space that you walk into and you can generate any scene you want. Basically, it's like for us, it's like it'd be creating another reality. I could say, oh, create a 1960s diner, or create. They love to do old Shakespeare's plays because public domain. And they would. And to us, like you're watching that show, and there's some scenes where the characters are like, why don't you just go to the holodeck to do this? Why are you doing it in the real world? And the other character will reply, well, it's not real. It's the holodeck, right? It's not quite the same thing. And when I was a kid watching the show, it's like, what do you mean? It's not, it's so real. It is real. Like it's the holodeck. It makes it seem real. And now we have AI images that can create almost very realistic. Actually, I would say
almost too realistic.
Yeah,
They're going to start putting AI into robots that we can own. Would you first get a robot dog or a robot girlfriend?
Dog.
Yeah, me too.
100%
well, first off, I have a girlfriend who I love very much currently.
Yeah.
And if I have to have if I feel like I'm compelled to have sex with a robot, then I think I would have to rethink some of my decisions.
There's some bigger problems going on if that's the case.
Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, there is a male loneliness crisis. That is
there is. Thing. Yes.
I think men in general, especially men our age, like need more support and need more. I don't know. I can't say what they need. If I knew exactly what they need, maybe I'd be making more money right now.
Yeah.
But
if they put fur on a robot dog, I'd be petting that thing all
I'd be
day.
pissed. I'd be pissed.
But no, I totally agree. There is a male loneliness epidemic. But also, me personally, I think it's all the dating apps. I think the dating apps have totally ruined our sense of love and relationships in our society. And I mean, you get on Tinder, you get on Bumble, whatever your thing is, and then you swipe all day for the average man. You swipe all day, you get like one match a month or something.
The experience of a guy on Tinder versus a girl on Tinder.
It's polar opposites.
Because naturally, women tend to go for men that are older than them, taller, make more money, can provide for them.
Men.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that's like how we evolved, and it's like a survival instinct.
Women are more selective,
right? It makes sense to me. But when it's
generally, I'm generalizing. Just sorry to be clear.
It can be hyper extended using these dating apps where women can then select even more, because they're not selecting from their community. They're now selecting from multiple counties and places around. I think it's crazy. I think that they need to be banned at some point, but that's never going to happen.
And I think I would when we're talking about this kind of stuff, we also have to be careful too, to make sure, like, I think it is much easier for women on dating apps to find dates, to find matches, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's on them either. It's like, we're all just a part of our environment. Who's actually creating that environment in the first place? And it's these tech companies. And you have to think with these dating apps, because of that asymmetry in
20% of the men are doing great.
Yeah, there's a few of them that are, but that because most of the men have to, they struggle a lot more. They're the ones who are more willing to spend money, and so there starts to be an incentive to make it difficult for men to get those matches, because you make them more interested in spending money if you do make it difficult, and then you make it easy when they do spend the money, and then if they ever stop the subscription, boom, it becomes hard again.
They've made dating and relationships a commodity, and at the same time, they've made it so skewed in a way that can become profitable. And it is absolutely genius.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
And it's disgusting at the same time.
It goes back to that whole idea of what is the current incentives to make money today? Like, is it to make a better product for consumers, or is it to exploit the consumers? Is that where you make the most money?
It's like sex always sells, but in this case, it's like real life.
Yep.
Maybe you can have sex if you pay us money. It's crazy. I don't know what this has to do with flock cameras or
it's
policy or something.
Where it is connected though is it has to do with the growing disconnect between the real world and the digital world, where we now it's weirder to interact socially in the real world now. The idea of, like, when I was a kid, I would go over to my friend's house not knowing if he was home, and I would knock on his door and see if he was there or not.
I did the same thing.
Yeah,
I'd be like, "Hey,
now you're texting you up?"
Yep, exactly. And now
you're gonna get on,
And from speaking to many younger parents today, like, they don't want they're tracking their kids all the time, and they're not sending their kids out into the neighborhood. The kids are not out there playing in neighborhoods anymore, and it's weirder now to socialize in the workplace, to socialize in other places. Well, just going up to talk to a stranger and say hi, that's becoming weird now. That didn't used to be weird. That used to be how we made friends. That used to be how we formed relationships.
Yeah.
And as that goes away, we rely more on dating apps now.
If you go to like a waiting room or something, if you're at the doctor's office or literally anywhere, everyone is on their staring at their phone. And I sometimes I'll do it too. I don't really do it that much, because I'll look up. Every single person around me is just staring at their phone. It makes me uncomfortable. And then I'm like, I don't want to be a part of this. So I put my phone away, and I put myself in the state of boredom, in this state of being uncomfortable, just to feel human. Because I feel
more often.
We do. I think being bored does something very important for you. Yes. I think it teaches your brain that like when is the right time to have a dopamine hit. And if we're always looking at our phone, we're always spiking it. We see a video we like, we watch it like 3 times, and then that dopamine goes away, and then we go to the next video and we just keep scrolling. And when real things happen in life, we don't have the incentive to go and talk to someone in public, because we're already getting that dopamine hit from our phone. Yep. It makes me very uncomfortable when I see a lot of other people like on their phone. It's like we're already robots.
And not to be too crazy here, but to me, it's an extension of control. Like when we are reliant on our dopamine from an algorithm, the person who controls the algorithm has more influence over us, versus if we take the time to be bored, if we take the time to go out into the world, it's the decisions that we make as individuals that end up deciding, when's that dopamine hit coming from? Where is it coming from? Yeah. To be very, I guess, crass about it in a way.
At least it's not like, drugs or something.
Yeah, but is it a drug of a different kind?
It is.
It is.
Yeah.
Actually.
It's like It's like gambling. Gambling's not a drug, but people still get they lose their house and everything. They lose their whole family over that.
And to tie this back kind of to what we were talking about earlier when it comes to the state of politics in this country, the way the discourse has shifted quite a lot and become a lot more polarized and volatile. I think this is connected to all of that. I think this is part of the fact that we've become so disconnected from our community these days. Now we don't really think of ourselves anymore as living with the people around us, as we would find our own communities online that's filled with people from all over the world, and that's good in some cases. In many cases, actually, I think the internet is also one of the best things that's happened to us. It has a lot of downsides as well. The government just hasn't started to act on that way, and that's why with this campaign, with my campaign, that's local government. I really want it to be community focused. I want it to be, when I say we need to, if we are going to move forward as a country, we need to come together as a community. I mean that literally. I mean that like communities across the United States are going to have to start to get to know each other again, in order for us to even start to heal as a country. And it's a question: how many of your neighbors around here have you talked to?
None.
In my neighborhood, I've only talked to 2 of them, actually.
2 of them.
Yeah.
Is it even at once, twice, a couple of them?
The first neighbor probably twice, the other neighbor literally once.
So at least you talk to them.
Yeah, I mean, it's been out of pure, I will admit, it's been out of pure convenience though. Like first time moving in, person right across the street from me, they were outside and they saw us moving in. We walked over, said what's up, introduced ourselves, all that stuff. And then same deal with the guy right next to us. He just moved in. He was outside doing stuff. I was outside doing stuff. So I was like, let's go see.
One of my dreams in life is to move into a house and have like an old grandma, maybe like a single mom and like her, 40s or something, come up to my door and have a fresh baked
pie.
And she's like, "Oh, here you go."
The lost art of bringing a neighbor a pie.
Right. And then
it's crazy.
And then we can
be dead by the time we can own a home.
I can help her with her fridge. She has a dead mouse under her fridge. I'm gonna go over there and I'm gonna help her out.
No, that's the kind of neighborly assistant. We help thy neighbor,
Right.
Love thy neighbor.
Love thy neighbor.
And then over time we develop this like relationship, and then towards the end, they need a kidney or something, and I'm like, oh man, we've been neighbors for years. I'm gonna give up the kidney. Yeah.
And then she passes away a year later because she's like, 90 something at this point.
Yeah. Or if it's a single mom, though. Well, okay, we won't get on that. But
yeah, okay. All right.
So building community.
So to sum it all up, what is, because I think we're kind of reaching to a wrapping up point here.
Yeah.
What is, I guess, your message that you want to convey to not only Warren County as a community, but as to the voter population that is the prospect of getting you into office?
If you want things to change, then you got to do it yourself.
I'm in agreement with that.
And if we want things to really change, we have to go outside of our homes into our communities, meet our neighbors, and work with them to make things happen. We have to go to the meetings in our community to actually pay attention to what's going on in local politics in the first place, because as far as they know, no one's in the room. No one's watching the decisions that they make. So at the very least, showing up, that goes a long way. And even better is, honestly, run for office yourself. Run for city council. Run for trustee. Run for school board. Have a say in the decisions yourself. It's much easier to do than you think. It is still a challenge. There is a lot of work that comes with it.
Correct.
But at the end of the day, it's our right as Americans to self-determine, to self-govern, to express ourselves. And this is one of the best ways you can do that. And if there's anything I want to do with this campaign, it's to let the younger Americans know that there is a future for us if we work for it. But we have to get up and work for it. We have to vote for the people who are willing to fight for it, and we have to vote for something different. We might have to vote for a different party.
Yeah.
But things aren't going to change unless you change your vote.
Exactly.
Things aren't going to change unless you do it yourself.
Exactly. Because I think as a hardened Republican, you've got mine, man. Yeah, I mean, this guy right here.
Thank you so much for coming.
Where did you even find this guy? This is crazy.
I don't know how things just happen.
Things just happen the way they're supposed to happen.
Yes.
Ian, thank you so much for coming on the show with us. Very insightful having you on today.
Thank you.
Very nice having an intellectual conversation.
Is there anything you want to plug?
To follow Ian Logan Ohio on Instagram and X/Twitter. Also check out Ian Logan for Warren County Commissioner on Facebook. And just if there's one thing I want folks to do, it's to just go out into their community and try to really believe that you can change things, because we can.
We can do it. Everybody has the power, you know?
I love this fucking eagle.
Dude, the greatest thing in the world, right?
I bought this
This is never going to go away.
It's beautiful.
This was $23.
Only?
Yes. And all of the sound foam and shit you see up here, this was $13.99. Every single piece.
Hey, but it was worth every single penny because that's been there from the beginning. It's going to be there till the end. Everybody, thank you all so much for watching. Once again, follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, the whole 9 yards. Y'all know it. Check out our merch page. We got merch out, like merch like this. You know what I mean? We also have our Patreon. Subscribe to our Patreon. 2 tiers of subscription there. Get exclusive content, as well as early access to episodes. And yeah, Spotify, Apple Music, all that good stuff. Subscribe to us on YouTube. And I think that's going to do it for the Eagle Boys. Ian, once again, you're a great American. Thank you for coming out here. And thank you for being a younger voice in local politics to show not only that if you can do it, anybody can do it, but give the younger crowd a look at the fact that, you know, all it takes is getting involved. That's all it takes. You know,
we're all paying $12 for eggs together. So, you know,
exactly. We're in this together, everybody. You know, it's not a party thing. It's not a race thing. It's a community thing. We're all together in this. But again, thank you all so much for watching. We'll catch you all on the next episode.
Peace.